Welcome back to another episode of the Corporate Cowboys podcast. My name is Alex. Today is proof of life. I'm doing this shit first. It's Wednesday, February 8th, 2023. Right now, you're listening to Season 7, Episode 18, and we're plowing right through. Today's question is coming from r/CareerAdvice. r/CareerAdvice. Would you like a professional opinion? A second opinion, another perspective, a corporate perspective, one of a corporate cowboy. Hit us up. We're on Instagram. That's at Corporate Cowboys with a Z. You can also follow us on Patreon, subscribe. There are multiple tiers. Some of them give you the option to ask questions, and you'll get exclusive content, one-on-one, personalized, just you and us. So this question is asking, actually, this question is more of a scenario, I suppose. There's no question mark that I see. It says, verbally abused by the head office over an email. So maybe they were chewed out over an email for something they did or for something they didn't do. And the body is pretty long on this one. So in order to make the most of our free 30-minute consult, I'll just get started. It says here, I'll try and make this short and sweet. But basically, I had a business case raised by my direct manager a few months ago for a pay raise. I had a business case raised by my direct manager a few months ago for a pay increase. Okay, it says this then needed to be approved by her manager. That's the manager who absolutely ripped me apart today. Okay. After the case was raised back in August, I inquired about the process and how long it would take to expect an answer. She gave me amazing reviews, said she would get me a good pay raise, and that it needs to go to another level up for approval, and that should take 2 to 3 weeks. And now, about 5 weeks passed. So I asked her again where the process was sitting, and she told me it was now out of her hands and was sitting with the national manager for approval and would keep me updated. I don't know, man. It sounds like they're stringing you along, but let's see. Let's see this. It says, keep in mind, everyone else in my team has received a pay increase this year except me through this business case process. So I guess what it sounds like is a quote, business case is usually started by the direct manager. And then if it's to be considered, that's kicked up to the next level to the national manager who either approves or denies pay raises. Okay. So it seems like it's the direct manager who's going up to bat for their employees, for their subordinates, in order to secure them pay increases. And it doesn't sound like they're guaranteed, right? Because they gave them a timetable of about 2 to 3 weeks, and it's been 5 now. It's just been dead air, silence, radio silence, not hearing any updates about their increase. So it says it's almost been 3 months, and I've been waiting the outcome. I've been awaiting the outcome eagerly, as it all seemed very positive and likely to happen. Last night, I sent an email. Hold on. Last night, I sent an email outlining the extra projects I've taken on, extra revenue I've brought to the company, and the countless hours of overtime I've dedicated. It was a professional, well-written email and not hostile or demanding in any way. I sent this to the head manager who the case was sitting with because I assumed he'd be the correct person to ask. Okay. All right. The reason I'm stuttering on this paragraph is because something didn't sit right. They're waiting in time. They didn't send this email to their direct supervisor. I mean, if you've met the head manager, you could probably CC them But even then, I think CC is a bit of a reach. I would send this email to your direct supervisor. Why? Because that creates a record, right? You're respecting the chain of command. So that creates a record that you're continuing to update and follow up with your direct manager. So if they are stringing you along, then at least you have that as proof. It says here, it was a professional, well-written email and not hostile or demanding in any way. I sent this to the head manager who the case was sitting with because I assumed he'd be the correct person to ask. Nah, I think you fumbled it a little bit there. This morning, I told my direct manager that I had sent the email, and she told me I shouldn't have done that as there is a chain of hierarchy. Yeah, more like a chain of command, a chain of communication, and you definitely went outside the bounds of that. Sounds like you're gonna get a talking to. I explained. Okay. Now I get the title. Now you were verbally abused by the head office over this email. So you weren't abused over an email. Like you weren't like they weren't talking shit about you. They weren't bagging on you in an email, in a written email. They verbally abuse you, like they pulled you aside and verbally abuse you because you sent this email. Okay. All right. So we're getting to it. It's almost been 3 months. This morning I told my direct manager and they fucking shit bricks. It says here, I explained that I wasn't aware I couldn't communicate with higher management and that it made the most sense that I'd get an update from him since it was out of everyone else's hands. Okay, I see what you did there. You took your direct manager's words and twisted them on her. Essentially, if you were following up with your direct manager and they were like, I can't do anything about it. It's out of my hands now. And you knew who the case was sitting with, I suppose you can rationalize reaching out to them. Whether or not it's justified, whether or not you were in the right, I mean, that's debatable. We don't know the entire context to it. I've still got questions, which I'm hoping the rest of this will answer. But again, I think you're always in the right to negotiate your worth and to follow up and to keep following up. I wouldn't say pestering and being demanding and whatnot, unless you know you are the motherfucker, unless you know you are the shit, you are the golden goose, and you can demand your worth. Otherwise, you're just following up, you're just touching base, you're just checking in, you're just making sure that this case isn't sitting cold. This business case isn't going cold. That somebody is actually sitting on the bitch, incubating it, thinking about it, and gonna hatch it. You're gonna make the shit hatch. Gonna make it happen for you and get yourself a pay increase. I get it. So you definitely stretched a little bit. You definitely stretched a little bit out of your reach, especially by leapfrogging over your direct manager when they said it's out of their hands. And if they didn't tell you to follow up with a manager, then don't follow up with them. But if you know who the manager is, again, this depends on circumstance. If you know who the head manager is, who is actually reviewing your case, and you've met them before, and they've actually followed up with you and said, hey, I saw your name come across my desk. I got to tell you, you're a good employee and all this and that bullshit. Then you can finesse your way into it to be able and send them whatever slide deck you have, whatever little presentation you have outlining your contributions to the organization and, justifying, supporting your position for a pay increase, right? Being professional. But what you did, I don't know, that kind of teeters the line, that borders on being not professional. That sounds like desperation. It sounds like desperation. I speak from experience. I'm not this old and I'm not this bold. I'm not this wise because I've never done this shit, right? I've been both on the giving end and the receiving end of these kind of emails. And you learn through trial and error. So it says, an hour later, This is an hour after they explained. They explained I wasn't aware, I couldn't contact, I couldn't communicate with higher management, and that it made the most sense that I'd get an update from him since it was out of everyone else's hands. An hour later, I was called into my manager's office. That's the direct manager was there too. So their manager's manager. So the head manager, right? Either the head manager or one more rung between their direct manager and the head manager. So somebody in between there. So they were called into my manager's office, and my direct manager was there too. As soon as I walked into her office, she screamed at me that I had dragged her through the mud and sending an email to the head manager. Okay, so then it was another rung. I'm just clarifying here because the way this is written, not so clear. I'm just clarifying where everybody stands, everybody's position, everybody's fucking title at this place. So she screamed at me that I dragged her through the mud, and sending an email to the head manager was completely unacceptable. I had to ask her multiple times to not raise her voice at me, as everyone in the office could hear her tearing me to shreds. She said she needed to do, quote, damage control now, and I asked her how my email caused her damage, as that wasn't my intention. Okay. All right, maybe this person is a fucking newbie. Maybe this person is a fucking newbie when you could have kept it in house, handled it in house, and escalated it, you know, a little more incrementally, and not just full out exposing your head your is it your head no exposing your manager's manager, right, as not going to bat for you. It sounds like your direct manager was going to bat for you, so you could have, if anybody, CC your manager's manager, right? That's an incremental escalation, not just fuck. At this point, shoot it to the CEO. Who gives a fuck, right? Because if you're gonna leapfrog the chain of command, the chain of communication, fuck it, send it to the CEO. Ask. I mean, buy a couple of shares in the company and then ask for every other shareholder's email address and email it to them too. Fuck it, right? All right, so it says here, I could barely get a word in. She was red in the face and absolutely livid. I told her if this is how she treats employees, then I don't want to be a part of the company. And she said, you can leave. All right, so this person is already rolling over on their back, right? Saying that if you're gonna fucking yell at me, I don't think I should be here. And the manager obviously is gonna capitalize on that and gonna say, get the fuck out. Take the rest of the day off. Take the fucking week off. I don't want to see you right now because you're making our department look bad. Right? Now this is all dependent on context and the facts. Every circumstance, every case is different, right? If you need help with your particular case, or if you know somebody who's going through something similar, or may go through something, is anticipating getting a pay raise, is wanting to get a pay raise, doesn't know the first moves to make, the first steps to take, have them reach out to us. Spread the corporate love like a corporate cowboy should. They say, I told her I didn't feel I did anything wrong by inquiring about the pay raise since it's been months with no update. She told me she was taking the email and our meeting to HR. What? So your manager's manager is going to take your email and that little meeting where I guess she ripped into you and is taking that to HR for what? For insubordination somehow? I'd love to see that. It says here, apparently now there are managers kicking off in the office about the email I sent. I'm dumbfounded. I copped verbal abuse and embarrassment. I ended up leaving for the day, but I'm unsure what to do now. I'm pretty sure I won't be getting the pay raise. Hold on. Don't fucking cop out now, right? Don't cancel the strategy now. You don't know what's going to happen. Maybe this shit goes through HR and finally gets escalated to your head manager who makes the decisions. Because it sounds like there's your direct manager, there's your manager's manager, there's your head manager, and then there's the national manager. Damn. No wonder nothing gets fucking done. I mean, everybody else on your team apparently got done except for you. So I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Maybe I'm not understanding the facts. Maybe you don't know which manager to actually, maybe you don't know which door the actual manager is hiding behind. How about that? All right. So apparently there are managers now who are, making light of the situation, and I bet they're knocking your direct manager. They're saying, damn, you can't wrangle your fucking, your little team. Your little team's got to come out here and beg for crumbs if what you're asking for is crumbs, right? And then you've got your hands out. I'd like some more, and in your hands you have a slide deck of all your contributions. And look at my contributions. I'd like some more. Fucking, it says here, pretty sure I won't be getting the pay raise, but it's almost like, quote, how dare middle management contact executives? How dare she? All right, well, it is what it is now. Somewhere, someone, sometime along the way in this email chain, because I mean, when we're dealing with internal email channels here, a lot of managers have access to their subordinates' emails. So you don't even know where all of this kicked off. Maybe you did send it to the head manager or the national manager, and then there's like 4 or 5 other managers above that motherfucker who's seen the email and is like, yo, who is this little nobody who's asking for more money? What the fuck? And like now they're bringing the hammer down to put you in your place, right? Again, I'm not saying what you did is wrong, but don't immediately turn and run because they got their panties in a bunch. So it says the company is obviously toxic. No, not necessarily, but continuing. It says, but I just can't believe the outburst and abuse I received over this. An investigation has started with HR, but does anyone have any advice or have been through anything similar? Ooh, Alex, this might be story time. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. It says, I'm starting to feel like she didn't actually send the case through. There's definitely something hidden under the rug in regards to this. I'm taking the rest of the week off to get my head straight. Have never been spoken to by an adult like that before in my life, let alone in a professional environment. I'm really shaken up over this. Man, if you're shaken up over this, you got off light. You got off light. At least when you sent that email, it wasn't the head manager who had time today. Like today I got time. Keeping it OG real. Today I got time. But today but today I got time. I got time today. At least it wasn't them ripping you a new one via email. Like if they're really on their P's and Q's, they'd have swatted that email down. And I mean, if they were really on their P's and Q's and being petty, if they were petty, they'd have swatted down your request and actually replied all to your email, so everybody had seen that they made an example of you, that you can't reach out to the executives, right? So you may have something, you may be onto something that maybe your direct manager never actually kicked the case up and was hoping that you would forget about it in a couple of weeks. That's always a possibility. Maybe your direct manager does actually have your best interest at heart and has their hands tied behind their back, has their hands tied because it's out of their hands. They kicked it up, they escalated it. And if you don't give them that support, that supporting documentation, that I don't know what kind of presentation you made, fucking what email you sent, a PowerPoint presentation with an Excel sheet attached to it. You could have sent that to your direct manager and kicked that up the chain of command so that your direct manager has more ammunition to help you, to help your business case, right? Go back and listen to, I believe it's season 4, episode 17. It's about setting your manager up, not in the way that you think. It's setting them up for success so that they can in turn help you on your path to success, right? If they already went up to bat for you, stuck their neck out for you, and are saying, hey, this guy, this person, this dude, Alex, great guy, stand up guy with the criminal mind, but a stand up guy nonetheless, gets the work done, is productive, is creative, is innovative, brings, I don't know, vibes to the office. Just all around chill person to have working for you, right? If they stick out their neck to that extent and you don't pass them the ball for them to run it, and I mean the whole ball, pass them that email that you're so fucking proud of. It's so professional, not demanding, and very courteous. All right, maybe you didn't say courteous, but you're claiming it's professional, not aggressive, not demanding. Okay, hand that ball to your direct manager and have them run it for you. They're already in a better position to make the case for you because that's their job, right? If there is a chain of command, you're meant to respect it. It's there for a reason. You don't like. I don't see you saying that this was a toxic work environment before you sent the email. No, you wanted a pay raise out of the joint. It wasn't until you leapfrogged, and some might say that's toxic behavior, that's sociopathic. You're not respecting the titles and the jobs of those that are above you, those that are ahead of you. Because there are those work environments, those managers that will tell you, you can step on my shoulders, right? You can use my shoulders to climb on up, but don't fucking dare step on my back. There's a difference. There is a difference. You can use my shoulders to step up. Don't walk on my back, right? And by you leapfrogging your direct, because I don't know how many managers you fucking got now. I could probably reread it again and break it down with context, but you did a shit job, right? So I'm being nice. I'm saying that in the nicest way. You did a shit job at explaining what the organizational hierarchy looks like, which would be a question in intake. I would help you diagram it out. Who exactly did you send the email to, right? Because at this point, we're looking at your direct manager, your manager's manager, the head manager, quote, the head manager, and a national manager. Now, we don't know if you left anybody out. We don't know how many are left above the national manager, right? This sounds like a bureaucratic nightmare, right? Red tape all over the place. But, hey, some corporate cowboys thrive in this environment. The more red tape, the better. The more rules, the better. The more rules to learn, the more rules you learn to bend, right? For some cutthroats, for some corporate sharks out there that I know, where you work, fucking toxicity? Nah, man, that's a walk in the park. That's a piece of cake. And to have their cake and eat it too, you've got yourself a dream job. That's a fucking dream job. But what you're doing is shitting on your cake and then pretending it's going to taste good when you eat it. Why? Because you want the pay raise. Sure, you want the pay raise, but you want it only your way when you know what you signed up for. It's apparent. I mean, there are managers above you, and you know what this business case system looks like, what this process looks like. You don't detail it all if you follow it up with your coworkers, with your colleagues who've all, and you claim they have all been through this business case process and they have all got their pay raises. How did that happen? What did they do? Are you asking the right questions, or Are you desperate? It sounds like you're desperate. Sounds like you're desperate, right? I mean, if you aren't already interviewing outside companies, I would be. I mean, why would you stop interviewing, right? Always be interviewing. But yeah. I mean, I wouldn't write it off completely that you're not gonna get the pay raise. I mean, why would you? You've still got this business case, it's still active, unless they shut it down. And we're nearing on 30 minutes. I'm not really gonna extend. Hold on. 25 minutes? Yeah, I guess I'll give you a little story about Alex doing the same thing. And it wasn't so much for a pay raise, right? It was it was uh it was a promotional. It was a promotion. It was some promotional language, some advertising language. So I used to work in an auto parts store. That's right, car parts. I used to sell car parts. It's a large brand. It's a national brand, right? I'm not going to give you the name. I mean, there are only what, two or three big ones, and you might be able to deduce where I work just by some of the language that I tell you, right? So a couple episodes ago, what was it? Last episode about white collar colleagues being cryptic about what they do for work, right? So the cryptic portion of that is really just jargon. Maybe you don't know what the fuck they're talking about and just think that they're sitting at their desk twiddling their thumbs when in actuality they're running projections, analyzing data, creating presentations, updating spreadsheets, computing spreadsheets, right? That all sounds very, very general, but those are very specific tasks that many need training in to be able to do efficiently. Many need foundational knowledge to even be competent in what they are and what actually goes into doing those tasks, right? That's jargon. Whenever you're working in an industry, if there are certain key terms that you use inside of the store, like as an example, a restaurant, right? There's going to be certain language that you're going to use in the back of the house. That's everything from the kitchen on back, like where the public can't see into. There's going to be certain language that you speak with the chef, the line cooks, and everybody back there to understand one another. It's like a shorthand of sorts. For some, it's a shorthand. For others, it's like actual technical terms to get a point across, to get a message across, to actually understand one another, right? So I was working for this auto parts store, and some of the products that we have, I mean, we're supposed to sell as much as we can, right? Back in the day, I really didn't have a quota, but I was a good salesperson. And some of the parts for more exotic cars, maybe cars that are out of date, also like cars that are older, classic cars, if there are like restoration projects, some of these parts we won't have on the shelf. It's impossible to have every single car part on the shelves. I mean, the warehouse space would have been unimaginable, would have been impossibly big, impossibly large, right? For every car that exists out there, for every car brand, every car make, every little model, every variation, every type, right? No, it would be unimaginable the size of warehouse that we would need. So some of those parts we actually have on a list, on a system that we can access and go straight to the people that make it. Go straight to the aftermarket. You see, there's some jargon there. We go straight to aftermarket vendors, individuals who have those parts for sale, not individuals, entities, actual companies who either manufacture these parts or source these parts. Again, there's another piece of jargon. They go out there sourcing these parts and they have them on hand to be able to then fulfill our request for parts. And now the key piece of terminology, the key piece of jargon is called a vendor direct product, right? Those products that we don't have on the shelves are vendor direct products. So they're vendor direct only. They're only available directly from the vendor. And now on the system itself, and on the advertising that was placed around the store, right, at certain uh not lengths, at certain distances, I guess, in down the aisles, because you could also walk down the aisles and see certain car parts. Maybe there's like filters or and like other little chrome exhaust modifications and parts for like hatchbacks, those struts, those compressed gas struts that are used to like pick up hoods or service doors and whatnot. They would place these tags around the store that says uh, VDP parts. Like ask if these parts are VDP or something like that. Like we're trying to have the customer learn VDP and what the fuck VDP means. And it was worded in a way like that wasn't the exact phrase that was on it, but it said something like it said something cryptic on it, like some of these parts are available VDP, and like that's it. Like it had no asterisk on there, like VDP means vendor direct product, and then like a little explanation. Vendor direct products are available directly from the vendor. None of that. None of that. It just said some of these parts are available VDP. Just some like something like that. And in the system, when we went to go look up a part, the system, if it wasn't available on our shelves, said VDP only. Like it was only available VDP. And so you have these parts sales associates, right? These crew members who are behind the counter looking for a part for a customer, and the customer may not know what the fuck VDP means. So they're thinking they could either find it on our shelf or we could recommend them to another parts store down the street. Just be helpful. Just be helpful. Just enlighten their day. Is it available? Is it not? Let them know how soon it could get there, right? But you have employees looking at the system, a system that our customer hasn't been trained on, our customer knows nothing about, and the employee is using jargon talking to the customer. The customer is asking for, only because I used to have a classic. I'm looking for a 1975 Chevrolet Nova carburetor. Okay, a carburetor. And you're looking it up, and you're not going to have all the carburetors for all the years of all the makes for all the models of this particular car sitting on your shelf in the back. And this employee has the fucking balls, has the gall, the audacity to say, this is VDP only," and giving the customer a dead stare in the eye. "Oh no, this is VDP," and the customer is just okay, like what the fuck is VDP? Like, so not so you already turn the customer off by using jargon. You say VDP and then let them know it's a vendor direct product. It's VDP only. I think that type of jargon should have been kept only for behind the counter. Again, you see there's some jargon, kind of like back of house, only kept behind the counter. And then at any point in time when we're interacting with the customer, we let them know that yes, we can get them directly from the vendor. That's it, in quotes, directly from the vendor. The vendor, not a vendor, the vendor. Right? Because it makes the customer sound important. It makes their special order actually sound special. Like you're going out of your way to request it, especially for them who came into your establishment and trust you with this opinion. So you're going to treat them special and request it directly from the vendor. It's as if you're asking the vendor, to do you a solid for the customer. And you're vouching for the customer that they're actually going to pay for it, that they're actually going to use it. It's personalizing the customer experience. You see how technical I'm getting with this? I sound like a fucking nerd. I sound like a geek. I'm already over 30 minutes, but it's a passion. Fuck me, right? I'm a corporate cowboy at heart, and I look out for other individuals who might be corporate cowboys too. So if they're coming into the store asking for a part, I let them know I don't have it now. I can get it for you directly from the vendor and have it here. I give them a date. Have it here by Thursday. How personalized, how unique, how special does that sound? Instead of saying, no, I don't have it here, that's VDP. What the fuck does VDP mean? So what did I do? I wrote an email. Who did I send it to? I let my store manager know, but my store manager is not in charge of the advertising and the promotion material, the advertising materials, everything that's printed that we hang up around the store, to advertise this VDP bullshit. They're not in charge of that. They don't dictate what is written on them. So I want to know who is. I want to know who's in charge of that. I write an email. I send it to my district manager. And I believe I send it to one more rung above them because my district manager also is not in charge of advertising. Again, this is a national brand, a national name, a national store in car parts. So obviously I wanted to go to the marketing department, but back in the day, this was what, like 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. Young Alex didn't know right from left, didn't know up from down. Young Alex was just running and gunning. Trial and error. You learn from trial and error. Had I known now that a whole ass marketing department actually exists and types up this bullshit, I would have CC'd them too. I mean CC, not directly send it to them because they could just as easily brush me off. But the more people that know, the more people relevant to my problem know, the better. The same goes for this salary increase. You didn't even CC your own direct manager and you fucked it up. You fucked it up worse than I did, right? I at least got my managers involved and they could have kicked it over to marketing. They didn't. They dropped the ball. I'm not going to rain on them now if I seen them. It's on site. But I'm not going to bag on them now right after the fact. You at least had a chain of command cut out for you. And you didn't even CC them. You fucked up. You got to admit it. You fucked up. Even if it's not illegal, even if you didn't break the law, even if, you are doing right by wanting more money, by wanting to be compensated for your worth and wanting to negotiate for it. But you totally just took a shit on the chain of command. It's as if you don't care. That's what it looks like. You want to make noise. That's about it. So of course they're going to send somebody down to shut you up, which is what they did to me. Right? Now, there was a little bit more to my story, but I'm making a point. Is that I learned my lesson. CC those people that are relevant. Keep them in the loop, especially if they are going to bat for you. Now that you got aired out, now that you got walked into the office and just ventilated, now you want to say, oh, this is a toxic work environment. I don't even think they kicked up my business case. When everyone on your team has gone through the business case process. Everyone on your team, that's an indicator that your business case was started. That's a clear indicator, right? Sure, you could be right. I could be wrong in saying that your business case was not started, but you've got circumstantial evidence that everybody on your team has gone through the business case and got their pay raise. So they were all successful. You never followed up with them. So as soon as you get chewed out because you didn't respect the chain of command, you're a soldier, dog. This is a corporate war. If when you didn't respect the chain of command, you got chewed out. Oh, all of a sudden you're throwing up the flag. All of a sudden you're a victim. All of a sudden when the chain of command comes back and bites you, it's fucking toxic, dog. Dog. You live and you learn. That's trial and error. Do it right next time. Do it right next time. If you, the listener, if you need a fucking reality check and you don't know it yet, but you think you do, before you send that email, hit us up. That's what we're here for. We're corporate cowboys. We're about logic. We're about tact. We'll help you strategize your next move inside of corporate. It's been over 30 minutes. I'll catch y'all next time.